Hello everyone and welcome. I was born John Henry Rutter in the year 1858, but you, like everyone else, can call me Harry. This is a photo of me when I was a little better looking. I'm going to pass around my county issued 6-shooter from the late 1800s. Well, I told you I was born in 1858, and that was in Indiana. And though I left that name behind me, and everyone now calls me Harry, my father died in the Civil War when I was just 4 years old, and I went to live with a cousin. They raised me well and did the best they could, but I always wanted to be a cowboy. So I headed for Texas from Indiana at the age of 18 and started working there for multiple different cowboy outfits and worked my way up. And they sent me up with a herd. A few years later, in 1884, we were one of just 4 cattle drives to come to Montana. We brought about 3,000 head that first year, and right into the Montana Valley with a couple of good cowboys who are still my friends to this day, especially Plaz Price and Blocker West. Once we got to Montana, we needed to find a place to put those cattle. And myself and one other cowboy represented 2 cattle outfits, and with 2 saddle horses and 2 pack horses, I headed north. I first saw the Milk River Valley from this ridge right on the top here. I hit a deep coulee and followed that right down to the Milk River. From there we camped on what I would say was some of the best cow country I'd ever seen. Me and that other cowboy, we took those horses and we went all the way up to the mouth. We started there at St. Mary's and then came back all the way to the Missouri River. And it was Indian country then, but the Indians were mostly all gone because there was no buffalo, and that was their main food source. So there being no bison and very limited Indian population, this was a perfect spot to have a cattle ranch. There was a particularly beautiful spot, a deep coulee where Rock Creek runs into the Milk River just north of what is now Hinsdale, that I had my eye on. Plaz and I signed up with the N Cattle Company, and we ran 30,000 head of cattle right in that perfect spot. I did that for the next 13 years. In the drought of 97, the N joined up with 6 other cattle outfits from northeastern Montana to run our herds to northwestern Montana. There was better grazing there. And we had 80 riders and 1,500 horses. Old Bill Jaycox and I helped lead the grand adventure, but that was the last summer of the N. They closed up shop after that. After that, I got my own homestead at that same beautiful spot I'd seen 13 years ago on Rock Creek. I focused on horses. The next summer, I became a deputy sheriff. This is my actual badge. It was when I was under sheriff in Valley County. And Valley County was a lot bigger then. And there were plenty of cattle rustlers and train robbers. And those bad guys almost cost me the love of my life. I got back to Glasgow after chasing some of those bad guys. It had been a long day, but I had a girl on my mind, Miss Elsie Clough. I rode the 30 miles to Hinsdale to see her, just to learn that she was at a dance at Forks Hall. So I rode another 40. And let me tell you, they were worth it. Because when I got there, I saw Elsie had a date that night. That's what I said. So I went ahead and I told Elsie we were just gonna bust out of there. I had a horse, but the guy she was on a date with, he had a wagon. So we took that wagon, and before the next dance, we were engaged. We got married in January of 1899 at St. Rayfields in Glasgow. She moved in with me at the ranch there at Hinsdale, and I commuted from Rock Creek all the way to Glasgow those many years. Elsie was a school teacher and Valley County superintendent of schools. She was smart. I had 4 years of actual education, but a lot of experience coming from Texas and Indiana on up to Montana. But thanks to her, our kids were smart too. Our little Elsie played piano, and she and her brother Lewis made the newspaper for their perfect spelling and arithmetic. Little Elsie became a teacher like her mother and taught school up in Coburg. This area has changed a lot in my lifetime. The big open prairie that I found on my first expedition is gone now. Fences are up and homesteaders claimed whatever land was left. I had my adventure, so was happy to take on the role of postmaster in Hinsdale for the rest of my days. I passed away handing the reins over to my son in 1939.
Thank you, Chisholm. Well done. Our next stop